On this video, I'm going to focus in on the comments and the discussion settings that we'll find within our WordPress website. And you can see that I've already logged into the dashboard. What I'll just need to do is hover over settings and click on discussion, and that will take me to the area for all of our discussion settings. And as we've come to find out throughout this series, there are going to be some slight differences between WordPress.com's version of WordPress and then your own hosted WordPress website. And we'll see a few of those changes as we go through this. I've got both of them set up so you can see the slight differences between the two. Now, to start off with on the discussion settings, the first three settings we have here have to deal with whether or not we want to allow people to post comments, and that's the third option right here on our website. And then the top two are going to refer to pingbacks and trackbacks, and those are going to be notifications that we can send people if we were to link one of their articles to our website, and then vice versa, if they were to link one of ours, whether or not we can receive those notifications so we can see that. And so if that were to be set up, we would get a notification, and by default it is checked for us to be able to send notifications if we were to link to somebody else's article. So that's the first three settings that we'll find here. The comments, the last one here, if you want your website to be more of an interactive where you can leave the comments on your articles, more of a blog styled type of web page or website, then that's definitely what you would want checked. If you were one of those people that did not want to have comments at all, then you would definitely want to come in here and uncheck that from your articles. Now, it does tell us that we can override these settings on individual articles, and on the WordPress.com site they don't give you that option whenever you're making a post. And so if I were to go to posts and add a new post, usually you would find that down here at the bottom in a discussion area where you could turn off comments for an individual article that you may have, and they don't show that there. And so if I were to click on, I have another tab opened up that shows you a hosted WordPress website, and you can see that there it is, the discussion area where you can allow or disallow comments or trackbacks and pingbacks on this particular page that you are, or post that you're actually making. So it doesn't show up on the WordPress.com site. However, you can still go to the discussion settings and turn them on and off for the entire site itself if you wanted to. Now, there are a couple other things that we've got here. Now, as a way to reduce some of the spam we may have, and definitely if we open up our comments on our articles, that's one thing to always keep in mind is the spam that you'll see. We have the option here to make it so that the author or whoever leaves our comment has to fill in their name and an email address to make it so that it's legit. And I will tell you that that is not a foolproof plan, because there are some scripts out there that people will use on web pages to just automatically spam all kinds of blogs that are out there. So it's not your foolproof option, but it does help a lot to have your name and email as a requirement. And you can see that's the default setting that we find here within our WordPress website. Now, speaking of spamming, most people who set up the WordPress website use the Akismet, and now on WordPress.com it's set up by default. If you have a hosted WordPress website, then you need to go to your plugins and set that up, because the more popular your site becomes and the more people are able to find it across the web, the more spam you're going to receive. So that's something you definitely want to have set up. Now let's go ahead and talk about the second option here. If you wanted to, you can have somebody have to be logged in order to leave a comment. Now, if you have a hosted WordPress website, you can create users, and you can have people sign up for your website and register as a user with a login account for your particular website. And if that was the case and you set it up on a hosted WordPress website, well then what you would have is they have to actually log into your site itself in order to leave a comment. And that's another good option if you wanted to have people register for your website. So it just depends on what you're looking at for your comments and what kind of settings you want to have set. Those two settings here, the first two, are ones that you may want to consider. Now, when you first get started, most people like to receive all kinds of emails and figure out what's going on with your website, especially when somebody leaves a comment. And you can see that there are quite a few options here for your notification when something happens. Now, if you have a hosted WordPress website, I'm going to go over and show you that one. You'll see that you've only got the two options here for when anybody posts a comment or any comment is held for moderation. So there's a slight difference between the two. On this particular one on WordPress.com, they have a lot more options for you, and so you can see those things just because it works within that WordPress.com community. There's a lot of more options that are available, but you can choose to uncheck these maybe when you get going, but definitely when you first get started, most people like to be emailed whenever something happens, and so they want to see all the changes. Now, when somebody does post a comment, what's going to happen is at the beginning you're going to have to approve them. And you can see here that you've got two options where you can choose to approve every single comment that comes through your website, or the default is to allow people who have already been approved to keep commenting, and you no longer have to approve them. So when we talk about our comments, you can see that this is the area up here where it says comments. And you can see I don't have any approved at them or pending at the moment. If I had them pending, what you would see is a little number, and you can see here that there's 2 of them at the moment on this particular website that are basically need attention, and we need to approve them or put them into the trash or something similar to that. Let me go back to the WordPress.com site. If I were to click on comments, you can see that I've got 1 comment that's already here, and I've already approved the comment. This is the default one when we set up my site. I can choose to unapprove it if I found out that it was maybe spam or something I didn't want. I have the option of replying to this particular comment as well. I have the option of editing, marking it as spam, or throwing it in the trash, which would be if it was something that I didn't want. So you have those options. Now, if I go back to my settings here, you can see that if I already approve somebody, which is the default, then whenever they leave another comment, that comment will no longer have to wait for me to approve it. It'll automatically be posted to my website. So that's the default. Some people don't feel comfortable with that. They want to approve every single comment that comes through their website because they just want to make sure everything's there. You have that option to choose what you want there. Now, speaking of that, we have the option also of putting comments in moderation, which means that we can wait or have to approve them if they match either some certain keywords or if they have more than a certain amount of links that we have here. And so you can see the default is hold a comment in queue if it contains 2 or more links, meaning even if we have approved somebody and they start, all of a sudden there's comments with all kinds of links for different websites, and trust me, people will do that on your blog. They'll try to link to their website or to all kinds of other sites, and there's a lot of spam that may come through as well. You can limit that basically by changing your settings here, and we can say maybe 1 or more links or 2 or more links. Most people like to leave a link when it comes to their own website if they're leaving a blog, so it's probably a good option to leave 2 or more links in order to put it in the queue. And then the words, we can look for some certain keywords where we may want to put, you can see how it works. If you were to type in the word press, then it would put in your queue, it would put anything that had WordPress, so just the 5 letters there, PRESS, any word that has that in there, it'll go ahead and send that straight from moderation, which is a way for you to kind of feel a little bit more secure if people are leaving comments on your website and you just wanted to make sure that certain words weren't put on there. You could definitely put it on the moderation just to check it before you approve it. Now the blacklist will automatically mark it as spam, and so it's very similar to the moderation, but however you'll never see it. It's just going to go straight to your spam. And so you have the option to use a blacklist as well, which any words that may appear in this particular list that we create will automatically be marked as spam, and you don't have to worry about them. So that's a good way to get some of those words that people may leave on your comments off of there. Now, the avatars. Whenever we leave comments, we can have an avatar that shows up. It's the picture that will show up for us whenever we're leaving a comment, and we've got some different settings for avatars. You can see where we can either choose not to show them or show them on our website if we want. We also have the rating, which is going to tell us the maximum amount of rating for the photo that we have here, and you can see G is what we have by default, which means it's suitable for all audiences. If you wanted to change those, you definitely could. And then you've also got the default avatar for users when they're leaving it, which you can see here it says for users without a custom avatar of their own, you can display a generic logo, and so you'll see a lot of times a mystery man on this one here, but you have the option to choose something that you may want as your avatar. Now we've also got one more thing, and that's the prompt. And so if I were to go to my website and then I were to find something like maybe I wanted to leave an article or leave a comment on this particular article, I found this interesting. This was a previous one I did on the last video. And I scroll down, you'll see where it says leave a reply. That's the prompt, and so I can change that if I want to in my discussion settings. But let's go ahead and just say great job, and I'll go ahead and post the comment. Alright, you can see that there's my avatar right there that shows up. You can see it says my name says great job, reply. Let's go back to the discussion settings. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the dashboard. Alright, and if I click on comments, you can see the comment is already in there. Now, I don't have to approve this because it was me that did this, but you can see that there's the comment, great job, and you can see how it's set up where it tells you when it was submitted, what time it was submitted, in response to whatever article you may have or post that you have on there, and it gives you some information about who it was that left that comment. And of course we can decide to trash that if we want to and remove it from our website. So that's how the comments work. And if I click back here on my article, you can see how it's all set up. And so if I have multiple comments, you're going to see their avatars are going to be listed there for us to work with. So this is the discussion settings that we have within WordPress and the comments that we have within WordPress's website.